There were always rumors going around about some abandoned old silo that had loomed over the woods. The woods were located in the middle of a field, just along a dirt road, right beside some railroad tracks. Not like anybody really cares. It's an eerie sight, with it's just sitting there, looming over the woods with rust trailing down the sides. Anyways, some rumored it to be haunted, probably by some old farmer who hung himself in the silo and takes his revenge on anyone who enters. I say this rumor is complete bullshit, especially when the ones spreading the rumor try to back it up with the story of some stupid kids who were just as curious and went into the silo, never to come back out. Others say the silo is just a good hangout spot where people would never find them. So, with both positive and negative comments, my geek band of friends and I decided to check it out. We decided to enhance the creepiness by choosing to visit the silo on a gloomy, cloudy day. So the day came, and my friends, Pete, Meg, and Wes, met at my house, since it was along the same railway. We followed the railway down, talking and laughing, having ourselves a good time, until we saw it. The silo was, of course, just sitting there, looming over the trees. Curious, we walked towards it as our laughter, along with our talking, slowly died down. The closer we got, it felt colder, as if there was some sort of cold, dark aura radiating from it, sending shivers down our spines. Wes even let out a small yelp. We paced around the circumference of the old silo, looking for an entrance of some sort. We ended up finding a ladder leading up the silo. The rungs of the ladder were also handles to open hatches alongside the structure. All were locked, except for one. Though it was stuck, so we had Pete climb up and open the hatch, and within a few minutes we were inside the silo, standing on the hay left in there. In the center was a very, very large hole, deep in the hay. It was dark, but we could hear a steady flow of air coming from the bottom. Oddly enough, there was a rope descending down into this hole. Since I was the only one smart enough to actually be prepared for this, I took out my flashlight. Holding the flashlight in my mouth, I began to descend. I dropped to the bottom, scanning the small area. Everything seemed safe as I looked at the scattered hay, dirt, and also a peculiar hatch. I beckoned for the others to come down. As they descended, my eye had caught something covering the rope. The color was a dark red. I hid my panic and showed the others the hatch that I had found. Pete opened it, revealing an even darker hole. Now, the fucked up thing about that was that it reeked of death. The others had sensed it too, and of course Wes had whimpered like a little bitch. Megan ended up gaining the courage to take my flashlight and go first into the hole. We followed her, and we walked through this dark tunnel for about 10 to 15 minutes until Meg had told us we had reached another hatch. She, of course, opened it. A bright light had filled the tunnel, and that's when we heard it. A piercing shriek, followed by the sounds of something running, panting hard. In a desperate attempt to avoid the creature that had made the horrific shriek, we ran for our lives. Once we were out of the tunnel, we slammed the hatch shut, attempting to lock it. The sound had stopped, and we breathed a sigh of relief. We were in a concrete block, which appeared to be an old septic tank, but with an opening at the top. Through that opening, we could see the forest above. We began to climb out. And then it happened. Again. We heard the sound again. Wes wasn't even out of the hole yet. Poor Wes. The creature slammed through the hatch, and a sharp, clawed hand reached out and grabbed Wes's leg tight, pulling him back into the tunnel. We heard his terrified screams, and suddenly, they stopped. We heard the sharp snapping of bones and the tearing of flesh. The rest of us froze in shock. The sound of Wes being killed was revolting. Meg ended up vomiting at the sound. After that, we tried to find our way out of the thicket. We searched for a way out for at least an hour, but we concluded that the forest was enclosed by a large perimeter of barbed wire fencing. We panicked, having no idea what we should do, and realizing that the thing comes out in the dark. Night was coming fast, and in a desperate panic, Meg climbed high into a tree, hoping the thing wouldn't climb to her. Pete found a small hole in the ground to hide in. A bad idea. Again, we heard the shriek, and I watched the thing climb out of its dark home. In my panic, I quickly climbed up a tree opposite to Meg and watched Pete sitting in the hole. I also, to my regret, got a better look at the creature we were facing. It was the most grotesque thing I have ever seen. Its face was a mask-like, pale skull against dark skin. The face seemed to only have 2 dark holes for eyes and a large, toothy smile across its face. After a few moments of observation, I had soon noticed that the skull, had Wes's face attached to it. I was scared, shitless, as the thing was slowly lurking towards Pete. I sat in the tree, and I watched Pete run in fear, but that was no use. The thing caught to him so instantly. It shoved both its hands through Pete's chest and tore him in half with ease. God, its chest opened up, revealing bloody tendrils that wrapped around Pete's head, tearing it from its mutilated corpse, pulling it into the empty cavity, sealing shut. The skinned face of Wes had disintegrated and quickly replaced with a mask from Pete, the same hollowed eyes and the same screwed-up smile. Then it spoke in a soft, raspy voice, unlike anything I had ever heard in my entire life.
I am the pocket.
It proceeded to crawl back into its dwelling. From the other tree, I heard Meg crying. I beckoned for her to climb down. I climbed down myself and told her we are getting the hell out of this place alive. Hesitantly, she climbed down, and I went up to the barbed wire fence and gripped the sharp wire, spreading it wide enough for someone to climb through. My hands bled, but I ignored the pain as Meg climbed through the opening. Again, the pocket shrieked, and in my panic, I hastily crawled through the opening and cut myself bad. Bleeding, I ran with Meg and ignored the pain, running until we had reached civilization once more. 10 years have passed. Meg and I became happily married. I say we were for a reason, the same reason why I'm telling you this story today. Meg, my wife, is dead. She died in a horrible way that nobody deserves. The police were called to the scene after a couple going for a walk through the woods found her entirely mutilated. Headless corpse laying at the edge of the woods. And when I say the word edge, that means the barbed wire fence. This could only mean that the horrible pocket is free from its prison. It's free, and it's coming for me, for I am the one that set it free. I know it is, and I know it is horrible, and right now, I'm staring at Meg, her beautiful, beautiful face in our marriage picture. I'm trying to use it to calm down, trying to remember her in all of her grace. It doesn't help. I see the reflection in the glass. The face coming slowly towards me was her face, only it had no eyes, and there was a smile torn into its cheeks. The pocket is here. He has come to take me. I can feel his hands going through my back, slowly reaching for my chest. And at this moment, I have realized his prime motive. It killed to free people from the hell that exists in my world. And I have earned the privilege to be free and to meet my wife again. I can only smile.